Let's discuss. Hey everyone, it's Rachel back again with another video, and today I'm going to be checking out a new track from the band Shokran, which is not a band I've got to cover on the channel, though I am very familiar with their discography. They have some phenomenal songs in their discography. I love this band. I'm very excited to see a new track from them. It is called Thoth, The Silent Witness. I will put a link to the music video I'll be using in the reaction portion of this video in the description, as well as all of the band's social media, promotional links, all of that will be in the description. So other than that, I'm going to stop talking and we are going to get straight into it. Vocals sounding crazy. I hear you, bass. Dance, man. Hey, Griffin. Those highs are so mean. Wow. All right. Shokran, Thoth, The Silent Witness. Let's discuss. So with this track, if you are not aware, they are back with their original vocalist. So while it sounds slightly different, it really doesn't differ that much from what I feel like I expect from this band. The chorus was a little bit in a different vein than I had been expecting, and I think at that point in the song it wasn't really something that I was like expecting or looking for, so I like the sound of it too. That's not to say it was like it didn't fit the song or anything. I think just with what they had built up until that point, it wasn't really something that was like in the back of my mind anywhere or anything like that. Of course, I need to mention the solo because that was probably like, I feel like I can drop the probably and just say it was the highlight of the track for me. I still think it's a very solid song. It's not like, and everything else sucks or anything like that, but it is probably one of the best solos, if not the best solo that I've heard come out of this year. If you've heard me talk about solos in the past, you've probably heard me use the word thorough, because there are some times where I feel there's like hinting at a solo, which in this track, as if you re-listen to it, I think that will be evident. I obviously need to do that first before kind of going into that. I did go and check on streaming services if it sounded the same quality-wise as it did on YouTube, which it did not. YouTube kind of butchered the quality on this. I still don't think that even listening on Spotify, Apple Music, any of the streaming services, that it doesn't sound as clean as some of their other material does, and I don't know if there's been a change or what, but it does not sound, the YouTube quality sounds bad. It doesn't sound good, and I was a little bit worried about that, but going back and just checking on it, within the first like drop of the song, you can tell that it's not the song itself that sounds that way. So if you've only listened on YouTube or you haven't listened yet, I would suggest go give them a view on YouTube and all that, but don't base your judgment on the quality or production stuff from the YouTube upload. So I haven't really re-listened to it, but I did go to check that. I think if I re-listened to it, some of the leads in the song would kind of connect into the sound that solo brings, because even kind of exiting it, just some of the stuff that stuck out to me, the main riff on it and stuff, they really kind of feel like they fit together well with that solo, which is just so good, especially because there's a point in the solo where it feels like they could have just kind of ended it and it would have been acceptable, but then it carries on and it just feels incredibly well done. A huge attraction for me, but the guitars overall on this track are a huge point of attraction to me. I'm very glad to see them. If you're gonna do like a vocalist change or what, I had loved the vocalist that they had in between this time as well. A lot of the stuff they've put out, I really can't name anything that they've put out that hasn't landed for me. They've done some cover type stuff that just has such a different spin on it, you can barely tell, but their original work is really where it's at for me, and this has me excited for what is to come, because it has everything I'm looking for from them. And looking at them back with their original vocalist on this track, the kind of seamless transition from lows to high, or lows to highs, or vice versa, that I love. And while I love the sound of both, it's really the highs that do more for me. I love the sound of this vocalist highs, and they're very plentiful throughout the track, so I'm not disappointed at all when it comes to the vocals either. I think if like what I'm talking about with the production just sounding a little bit like not as clear at times, I think the drums could hit just slightly harder. It has really great drumming throughout the track. It's not to say it's like the drumming itself that doesn't hit as much, but I think with a little bit of a different approach on the production, maybe a little bit punchier in some places, it would just have more of an effect than it does, but it sounds really good regardless of that. A lot of thick riffing. I don't want to like kind of write off all the guitars on this track just to point out how incredible that solo is, even though it is, but there is some thick riffing throughout all of this track, and I think like I mentioned, having the solo, now that I've got to that point in the song, re-listening, the riffs may even hit more so, knowing what's coming with that solo, and all of it kind of fitting together very well. It's just got a great sound to it. If you haven't listened through their discography, I definitely encourage you to do so. Maybe you've heard me talk about this band. They have a track where the synth that they use in it sounds so much like, a Tony Hawk just accomplished something type of sound. Anyway, Faces Behind the Stars, that song is off of their record Ethereal, which is my favorite release of theirs to date. It has some incredible tracks on it, some of the synth work like what I just mentioned about Tony Hawk, which is one of my favorite games of all time, so it definitely stuck with me there in a different sort of way. Obviously that doesn't matter an incredible amount, but it was still something that I was like, what does that remind me of? And it took me a few listens to the track to finally be like, I know exactly what this sounds like. They have songs on that record that are just amazing from start to finish. The first two tracks on the album, Unbodied and Nature of the Paradox, are just incredible. And then you go further into the album, it does not let up. All the way to the track I'm talking about, Faces Behind the Stars, into Destiny Crucified. Everything that falls in between that is just right up my alley as well. I feel like their riffing, their vocals, some of the synth work has just been what stuck out to me the most. So with this track, I feel like this will go on to rotation for me. I hope that going forward for them, there is a little bit more clarity when it comes to the production choices, but it won't make a like listening to this song on streaming services compared to the YouTube version. If it were the YouTube version, it probably would be something that would maybe get a few less plays from me, but listening to the streaming service version compared to what's on my playlist otherwise right now, it's nothing like crazy noticeable or anything like that. But I do think with their approach and their use of a lot of layers in their music, it would be more beneficial for them to sort of have a cleaner approach with their production. But again, this is still an incredibly solid track, something that will go onto the playlist for me. I am still happy with it. Let me know what you thought in the comments. I will link the music video for the track as well as all of the band's social media. All of that good stuff will be in the description of this video. If they have any merch available right now, that will also be there. Other than that, you can also find my link tree in the description, which will have my Patreon, my Twitch channel, the invite for the Discord server. Any link you may need related to my channel will be in that link tree in the description. I am doing a lot of stuff on Patreon, though I am revamping it a little bit to what I think will make more people happy. I've tried to get a lot of feedback, and if you are part of the Patreon, I think my pinned post, like my only pinned post on Patreon, is asking for suggestions or what you want to see on there. So of course, if you're part of the Patreon or plan on joining and want to suggest some content, I am always checking my notifications on there and seeing what people want. Of course, I offer playlists / mixtapes for tier 3. We're in the process of doing voting and discussions around our favorites of this year already, 2023. Even though it's not over, I think having some polls already established, having a little bit of discourse around what people think of the releases we've gotten thus far in the year, it'll help us further down the road so we're not like 80 posts per day in December or anything like that. So there's a lot of stuff I'm offering on there, a few things I'm still planning on adding into the tiers. So if you want to be a part of that or check out what I'm offering, it is in that link tree in the description. Twitch is where I am doing all of my streaming right now. I am doing Tuesday request streams for the most part. If you are viewing this video, it should be going up on the morning of, or depending on your time zone, it should be going up sometime on a Thursday, in which case stream will be today at 1 p.m. MST, that is 3 p.m. GMT, 3 p.m. EST, 7 p.m. GMT. So if you want to come join, hang out, try to get on the requests, either of the request queues for songs, I will be live streaming Thursday this week and then reverting back to my Tuesday schedule as of next week at the time I'm posting this. I also am doing some other music related, not request stream type streams. If you want to check those out and see when I go live, feel free to follow my Twitch in the description. The Discord server is where the community is based for my YouTube channel, so if you want to come check that out, there are a lot of really awesome music lovers in there having music related and conversation completely unrelated to music as well. So as always, thank you very much for watching. I appreciate it.